Hey you guys, so as promised, I wanted to talk about just a couple of weapons that I mentioned yesterday when I talk about, the fighting Christian and how I was going to share with you guys some of the weapons that you can use. Of course, we know the Bible is the ultimate weapon. That's why Paul mentions that the Bible is a sword of the Spirit. When we pray upon ourselves the full armor of God, the sword is the word of God. When you use the word of God, it is, like I said, the ultimate weapon. And it's because you're declaring the truth of God. You're speaking the truth of God in your prayer or even in your life. Like if the enemy tries to attack your mind, boom, I cast down vain imaginations. That is 2 Corinthians 10. That's the word of God. Or boom, the peace of God which passes all understanding will guard my heart and guard my mind. Philippians 4:7. So you want to always use the word of God to combat the enemy in all circumstances. It's one of the major, it's the sword of the Spirit for a reason. It's one of the major weapons. Another weapon, of course, is prayer. If anyone here who ever lacked in their prayer life, you can understand that you're left open. And prayer is just mainly communication with God. So if you're lacking in that communication with God, you're spiritually going to be not up there to really discern what's fighting you, what's trying to come against you. Another weapon is fasting. Jesus mentioned these kinds come out, but by fasting and praying. So fasting is definitely a weapon. It subdues the flesh, it heightens your spirit, and it allows you to really increase in the spirit as well. It gives you great discernment, and it really opens up your spiritual senses, your sight, your hearing spiritually, so that you can really hear God. You can really see in the spirit. And another weapon I wanted to talk about is binding and loosing. I'm sure you guys heard this in somebody's prayer. I bind that spirit, or I bind this. And yes, that is a weapon, of course, to be used in prayer. A lot of these kind of go together. And instead of speaking too much about it, I'm just going to share Matthew chapter 18, verse 18. And it says, "Whatsoever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatsoever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." And there's a fantastic book on it called Strong Man's His Name, What's His Game by Doctors Jerry and Carol Robeson. And it gives you a great foundation on what binding and loosing is, how to use that, and what to pray and what to say. Binding up the spirits of death, jealousy, envy, fear, dumb and deaf spirit. It goes really into detail, and then I think it's a great starting point if you are just starting that spiritual warfare journey. And the last weapon I wanted to talk about is deliverance. Most people don't talk about deliverance as a weapon, but it is, because it does frustrate the kingdom of darkness. You got to understand that the kingdom of darkness wants people to be filled with demons so that they can be held down, their destinies can be blocked, so that they can control their attitudes, their character. So once we get delivered, once we get free from certain things, the kingdom of darkness cannot have a hold or grip on us as it used to. So those are just some things to keep in mind, some weapons to keep in mind. Of course, there's many more weapons, and hopefully I'll be able to speak on it more. But just stay strapped out there, you guys, and definitely use these weapons in your prayer time.